Hey, what's up YouTube? What's going on? In today's new video, what I wanted to do is address a question that one of my viewers recently asked me. And the question was about staying active versus resting when it comes to overcoming a lower back injury, specifically a disc injury. And the response that I gave this individual was that, number one, we have to define what rest is and what staying active is. Because the thing is that both can be negative and both can be positive, but it really depends, and it depends on what we're defining them as. Because to break it down to a little bit more detail and to explain this, prolonged rest in the sense of bed rest, which would be your traditional form of rest that one may prescribe, maybe a doctor may prescribe bed rest or something. Prolonged bed rest is not good for somebody just because of staying in a static position for a long period of time in the sense of us just laying on a bed isn't exactly good because it could lead to a loss of bone mineral density, but at the same time, we could also get hyperhydration of spinal discs. So not exactly the best thing in terms of that sense. Now, at the same time, when it comes to staying active, now if one becomes too active or they become active too soon in the sense that they're doing activities that they shouldn't be doing yet or aren't prepared to do yet, that's when it can become problematic because then they might be going to positions or movements that may be risky or they just aren't prepared for them yet and they may actually start causing some issues or maybe delaying their recovery in a sense because they may be picking at the scab a little bit. And so we have to look at what they're doing in terms of staying active, because staying active is important because we want to still build up maybe muscles that may be weak. We want to maintain bone mineral density or maybe increase it. Kind of really depends on the individual. But the whole point is that when it comes to staying active and it comes to rest, both are critically important in the recovery process. But the important thing to understand is you need to define what rest is and what staying active is for yourself in terms of your recovery and overcoming your lower back injury. Because both are equally important and they're both very important in terms of overcoming an injury. But if you start doing the wrong sort of rest or the wrong sort of activity in terms of staying active, and that's when things can become problematic. So just to give an example, for someone that may have a disc issue or something, typically walking tends to be a non-negotiable thing. If you ever listen to Stuart McGill talk about walking in terms of it as an activity. So there is in a sense where one can stay active. Now, some people do have pain with walking, but the important thing is if one has pain with walking, we have to identify what their tolerance level is. So maybe they can walk for 10 minutes until the pain comes on. So that's their tolerance level. So they would want to walk up until the point just before the pain comes on. So that's where you're working in your tolerance level. Then you would continuously try to increase this over time and try to build up that capacity in terms of walking. So that's an example of staying active. In the sense of resting now, with regards to resting, a way to look at it is you want to avoid the activities that you're just not capable of doing at the moment or shouldn't be doing just because they may be triggering your pain or they may trigger your pain or maybe they could cause things to become worse. And something like that could be prolonged bed rest, or in a sense resting could just be avoiding something like sitting. Some people may think that being in a seated position is a good form of rest, but people with disc issues, that is not a good form of rest because sitting itself is a direct stressor of our spinal discs and that can cause a lot of problems. So it kind of really depends, but you got to play around with it. And the thing to understand too, when it comes to everything, is that staying active and also with regards to resting, it's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's tolerance levels, capacity in terms of what they're able to do is going to be different. And also what they need to do in order to overcome their lower back injury is going to be different as well. So that's the one point I wanted to hit home, guys. I just wanted to kind of touch that because I thought it was a good question one of my subscribers asked me, or sorry, one of my viewers asked me. And I just wanted to kind of touch on that and do a video on it because the important thing to understand is that both are equally important, but you need to find out what works for yourself, what works best for you, and what is reducing your pain and what do you notice improvements with. And that's what you want to kind of continue on. You want to make sure that you're progressing in the right direction. So that's all I wanted to say, guys. And I just wanted to kind of make that video quickly to touch on that. Now, if you have any questions, comments, anything with regards to this video, please be sure to leave a comment below. And with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap up this video. So I wish you guys all the best and have a successful and productive day and take care.